Potboy is a fan favorite character ever since he was showcased in the reveal trailer. A few days later we got a picture of Potboy sitting next to a bigger Potman. According to the Elden Ring website, the Potboy is described as shy creatures that nibble on sweet grass or scuttle through the underbrush. These creatures may also be spirit summons. In the Famitsu interview, Miyazaki did state that you can also summon creatures that are not particularly helpful in combat, but rather look cute. Speaking of mysterious creatures, let's take a look at these werewolf-like creatures. According to a recent Twitter post, it says that in the distant times before the shattering, wolves dared not roam the lands between. As we all know, now we see a couple of wolves in the lands between. But why do they roam so freely right now? During the start of the trailer, you may remember hearing this phrase.
The Golden Order is broken to its core.
Now none of us are sure what the Golden Order really is, but in the Japanese version of the trailer, the Golden Order is referred to as the Golden Rule or the Golden Law. And so far the only thing we know about this is that it has been broken. Do the wolves roam freely due to this reason? The members of the Golden Order may have kept the wolves out of the lands between, or maybe the blessing of the Elden Ring kept the wolves at bay.
Guided by grace, once lost.
What is grace and why does it guide us? To know this, we must first understand what the Elden Ring is and how it influences the lands between. The Elden Ring is shattered before the game even begins. We know that the Elden Ring is required in some way to become an Elden Lord. But how does this Elden Ring influence our world? This is where the Earth Tree comes into play. The Earth Tree. It acts as an intermediary for the Elden Ring and helps to bless the lands between. It symbolizes the Elden Ring and has the Elden Ring as its source. The Earth Tree is like a medium which is used to bless everyone in the lands between. Now let's go back to this phrase.
Guided by grace, once lost.
Grace or blessing has the Elden Ring as its source, and the lands between is blessed by the presence of the Earth Tree. This grace is like a divine revelation. It takes the form of guidance which invites the Tarnished to the lands between and the Elden Ring itself, murmuring to them to become a lord. Now the trailer focuses on the Tarnished and talks about their return to the lands between. But who are these Tarnished and what do they seek? The Tarnished were people who once lost their grace and were banished from the lands between. Now they have returned to the lands between to claim their Elden Lordship promised to them by legend. These Tarnished were exiled from the lands between long ago before the beginning of the game. It is stated that their lost grace returns to them after the shattering of the Elden Ring had taken place. Many of the Tarnished returned to the lands between in hopes of becoming an Elden Lord, and they claim the lands between to be their birthright. So the Tarnished who were once exiled for losing their grace have now returned to reclaim Elden Lordship, since the shattering of the Elden Ring has given back their grace once lost. But what caused this shattering in the first place? To know that, we need to learn a bit about Queen Marika and her offsprings. In the Japanese version of the Elden Ring website, Queen Marika is referred to as a god who rules the lands between, and in the Famitsu interview, they say that her demigod children now rule the lands between. The offsprings of Queen Marika who are ruling the lands between. each having their own blessings. These blessings give them a unique strength, but the mad taint of their newfound strength triggered a war that meant abandonment by the greater will. So could this fight for power among the demigods be the reason the world is broken right now? The website also states that slivers of its blessings yet remain in hidden pockets where lost graces wait to be found. So we the tarnished were exiled from the lands between because we lost our grace. Later the demigod children of Queen Marika fought amongst each other, causing the abandonment of the greater will and maybe causing the shattering of the Elden Ring. Soon after this, the Golden Order is broken to its core. Due to this, creatures like werewolves roam the lands between freely. Moreover, due to this shattering, we have gained our grace, and now we the tarnished have finally found the right time to reclaim our birthright. We return to the lands between with the help of the remaining guidance given to us by the greater will, so that we may finally reclaim our Elden Lordship. I hope that I have put together everything properly and made sense doing so. I would like to hear your thoughts on the story, and please share your opinion in the comments below.